Hey, Fred Glick here, back with another video that I want to, if I were titling it, I would say this is all about like authenticity and why it's important. I remember not too long ago, and again, I don't care what your politics are here. I'm trying to illustrate a point. There's a guy on YouTube whose name is, he goes by Oliver Anthony, and he went super viral with his song Rich Men North of Richmond, talking about people in DC. And if you go back and look at this guy's stuff on YouTube, he's gotten millions of views, been offered like huge contracts. Um, and I was looking at him and trying to understand like what makes him so popular? Why did he get so many views? And I think that if you go back and review this yourself, you're going to notice that this guy who shot most of these videos, at least initially, with an iPhone, and then was subsequently, I mean, he's a good musician, he's a great songwriter, but I think the reason for his success, as I've found, and I'm not a big country music fan, but as I've looked and watched country music people, I think one of the reasons why they tend to be successful is how completely real they are. The only problem is all of us, when we look at that, you can see what I'm talking about. If you go look at this guy's videos, back in the day when I was doing a lot of professional speaking, I used to call it the Oprah factor. And the Oprah factor was, I would always ask people, why do you think Oprah is so successful? And I think it's because she was she appeared, and again, I don't know if this has been a big smokescreen and I've been fooled the whole time, but she appeared to be very authentic and real and wasn't, doing anything that wasn't really her. And when I would ever, when I would coach people on, how to do this, the major question is, how do you be real? Can you coach real? And my answer is that you can, if the person that's taking the instruction understands that to be real, it means you have to just be 100% comfortable with being your authentic self. And I think a lot of people have a problem with this because oftentimes, especially when people are getting up in front of groups of people to speak, and this is where you can really see through this. When people get up to speak in front of a group, this is where you can identify whether or not they've figured out, this whole authenticity thing, because you can kind of smell it. And I think it's true on videos like these that I'm doing, which is if if I was being someone other than who I really am, I don't think it would work at all, because someone would go, this person is now recording a video, he's performing or she's performing, whoever it is. And I think it's very easy to do it. So the question that you might have is, okay, so how do you become more authentic? I think a lot of it has to do, I did for many years and still would love to continue to do a lot of improv work. And improv is all about kind of being in the moment, being yourself, going with the flow, all of those things. So if you're asking yourself, how do you become more authentic? How do you do that? Number one thing I would say is take an improv class. There are tons of them all over the country, all over the world. So wherever you're listening to this from, I'm sure you can find an improv class that you can do, which will help you in moving towards becoming more authentic. The other thing to understand is that as much as you look at the various flaws and maybe the way you look, the way you speak, the way you sound, I mean, it's people will pick something about themselves that they don't particularly like, and they'll try and change it. I just think that the more comfortable you can become with just who you are and not caring at all, understanding the following, and this is why I think I've been able to do it, which is I've understood very early on that no matter who I am, how I look, what I sound like, or what I do, there will be a certain number of people who will hate me. They just won't like me for whatever reason. And you've got to be okay with that. And if you get to the point where you're okay with that, then you will understand that authenticity can come out, which if you get to the point where you finally say to yourself, you know what, I really don't give a crap. So I'm going to just go ahead and do it my way and be myself, because that doesn't work. So I hope that that's helpful. So how do you do it? How do you become more authentic? you stop worrying about anything that you're doing in terms of how you look or how you sound. Just be yourself and maybe take an improv class.